Hi everyone, Agnes here. I've got a very interesting viewer's question today, and it's from Nina. Nina, you have asked. I have a burning question that I've wanted to ask, and I am personally at a crossroads with. I have manifested specific people, but they all come to an end eventually because I do get a bit obsessed and I end up choking the energy. Recently, I was reflecting back to my SP through a conversation that I have a pattern of becoming obsessed and hurting myself in the end. I now feel like I must stop manifesting this person and just accept what is. I want to surrender and I want to let go and I want to focus on self-love and ridding myself from this obsessive pattern. But deep down, there is a part of me that still desires to continue to manifest my SP, and it seems ridiculous and not right. Is there any way to manifest someone without putting all your eggs in one basket, without expectations of them actually coming to you? How does one truly manifest without an attachment to their wanted outcome? Okay, Nina, good question, and I think many will relate to what you've asked here. And when we are too obsessed with someone, and it becomes this thing that is basically encroaching on all other areas of our life, looking after ourselves, can't concentrate at work, not being present with friends and family, not looking after our physical self well enough through exercise, eating properly, drinking enough water, having fresh air, whatever it is. The obsession itself tells us that we have issues within our own selves. Now, you already know that because you talked about it as an obsession, but it's looking to the outside to make us feel better on the inside. That's what an obsession is. It's an obsession with something external. So in this case, the SP and a succession of SPs and ending up with the same pattern and the same end result. So I think it's really about, and it's again the same thing, it's a lack of self-love within, okay? So to get to the point where you understand that it's an inside problem, an inside self issue, and that's why we look to an SP for that love, for that connection, for that affirmation, for that validation. And when we can get to the point where we correct that within and we no longer look to them to fix it, them to make up for our childhoods, them to make up for our unloved feelings, and we start to put the focus on, hang on a minute, I'm an adult now, and it's not an external person's job to do it like it was when we were children. It was our parents or whoever it was that was raising us to meet those needs. Now, it's almost like we're, a lot of us, children in adult bodies. It's like we still have the child responses, as in, it's not mum and dad anymore, or it's not our major caregiver anymore. It's an SP focus now. It changes from parents, caregivers to relationships with romantic, physical affection relationships, you know? So the focus shifts from the parents to this person. Now, I'm not saying that if you have an SP that you don't genuinely have some love for them. You do, but it's all tangled up with a need to get our unmet needs met. Okay, that was a that was a bit of a mouthful. So the unmet needs from childhood are then transferred to the SP relationship, as in meet my needs, meet my needs, meet my needs. That's why we have neediness, and the neediness gets high level and it turns into obsession because that was not met within us. Now, that's not our fault if we have that. However, as adults, it becomes our responsibility to correct it. Whatever people did in our childhoods, the childhood is over, but the past is still alive in us, as Neville talks about, but it is up to us to fix it, to correct it, to acknowledge it, to deal with it. And, there's many, 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 many people that have this. This is not an uncommon thing. This is something that, so many adults have, and it's something we can correct. We can correct this. But going back to your question, putting all your eggs in one basket with focusing on an SP, I think if you put all your eggs in one basket, do it in the way that I'm going to really look at how much work I need to do on myself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, whatever area you think you're not good at, and get to the point where that becomes the main focus. That's all encompassed in the self-love. And therefore, when you work on that, Nina, your obsession diminishes. Because what happens is once you start meeting your own needs, you're not chasing that drug on the outside. You can feel good within without someone loving you, without someone attending to you. You can then become adult to adult rather than child to adult dynamic with a specific person. And then you become emotionally and physically so much more attractive, because it's our emotional state that repels SPs. It's our emotional state that creates obsession. Okay? It's the thoughts, but it's the emotional body. That's where the inner child is suffering. It's got all these emotions trapped in the body, which is like a suitcase, and it holds us ransom to wanting that love from that specific person. So if you do the work on yourself, and then you will let go of expectations of the SP, and you can let go of the attachment of your wanted outcome, because you are then not looking to seek love. You are marinating in love, the state of love. I am love. I am loved. I am lovable. May divine love be made alive in me. And then you can learn to radiate that out. You can do it literally with meditations to radiate love. I'll put those down below for you. And you can then go through them and do them. But before you can radiate love, you have to be in a state of I am love. So you can't put the cart before the horse, as they say. Work on your I am loved, get good at it, get to the point where you're about a 7 or 8 out of 10 fairly consistently. We don't have to be perfect. It's progress, not perfection. And then when you get good at it, start introducing a radiating love meditation to a specific person, maybe once or twice a week. But you can attract someone literally by just doing self-love. You can. Why? Because when you're in I'm not loved and I need to get love, you repel. When you're in I am in a state of love, you attract. It's magnets. So which magnet are you using? And if you are not good at it, it's all right. You can get better. Okay? You can get better by addressing your own stuff. Sweep your side of the street. Okay? Now, many of you do come to me for coaching. Many of you have bought courses. Many of you have used the free courses. I'll put those down below for you. Everybody does this in different ways. Some people work very well, quietly and on their own, using all the free resources. For those of you that struggle and need a bit of extra help, my coaching services are down below. Okay? Thanks for your question, Nina. I think this is really important. I'm glad you brought it up. You only sent it to me, let me just see, a day ago. So I just thought this was a good one to talk about, because there's a lot of SP, people working on it and struggling. And I know I did too. I struggled for a long time. So, it's all right. You will improve. The specific person is one of your greatest teachers of all time. Lots of love.